This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, episode 214-inch.
On this episode, we conclude our interview with the award-winning director and co-writer of Weird the Al Yankovic Story, Eric Appel.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Hello, Ethan. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode
Dave!
What? Calm down. What?
It came!
What came?
Weird the Al Yankovic Story on 4K, Ultra HD Blu-ray, and Blu-ray!
Yeah, mine came also.
Well, aren't you excited?
Yes, I'm very excited for December 12th, when it is officially released and I can watch it.
What? You don't have to wait. Just watch it now, Dave.
Who do you think I am? Some kind of hooligan? I would never disrespect Weird Al and our guest this episode, Eric Appel, our very own director, by the way, by watching it early.
I don't think it's disrespectful to watch it early.
Are you kidding me, Ethan? All the hard work that they put into making this film, and you think it's okay to watch the Blu-ray before the release date. That is despicable. The nerve. I'm actually feeling quite ill just hearing you say this.
Dave?
Yes?
Be real with me for a second, okay?
Okay.
You don't have a Blu-ray player, do you?
I do not.
And that's the real reason why you haven't watched it early.
That is correct.
Well, Dave, let me just tell you, the commentary, deleted and extended scenes, and the other bonus features are pretty stinking majestic.
Okay. How about this, Ethan? Once it officially comes out on December 12th, we can talk about all the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's fair, but can I just tell you one little spoiler?
No.
But you'll really like it!
Okay, just one, but I get to decide what.
Okay.
All right. What do they make at the factory?
Sorry, Dave, I can't tell you. You're just gonna have to ask the director and co-writer of the film himself later this episode.
Okay, fine, I will. All right, let's check out what's happening in Weird Al-related news.
Many Weird Al fans who listen to his music on Spotify got a nice surprise during their yearly wrap-ups as Weird Al recorded a video message for those who listened to his music in 2023 on Spotify.
In the video, which has since gone viral and been picked up by various news outlets, he jokingly reports he made about $12 from his music, having 18 million streams, which is enough to buy a nice sandwich.
Surprisingly, Weird Al was not the top Spotify artist for Dave or me, but that's because we don't have Spotify accounts.
And without Spotify accounts, we just have to settle for owning every single Weird Al song in every possible format that it has ever been released in.
Weird Al appeared on Block's podcast with Neil Brennan last week, and during the interview, Al brought up a memory he says he was reminded of from a podcast he listened to recently.
Al then went on to tell a brief version of the story Dan Butts told us about the typo on one of the cue cards in the Bob video.
Al didn't mention the podcast he heard it on by name, but considering our interview with Dan Butts was the first and only place that story has ever been told, we can quite confidently say that Weird Al was referring to this podcast.
From all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast, congratulations to all of us here at Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast for the shout out.
Also in inferior podcast news, Greg Hess of the award-winning comedy podcast Mega the Podcast posted a photo with Weird Al last week on Instagram.
While it hasn't been confirmed that Al recorded for their podcast, the photo was posted with the caption, "We got weird."
Collector alert! A new version of Comedy Bang Bang the book has been released that features New York Times bestseller printed on the front.
We have heard that some locations of Barnes & Noble are selling signed copies of the book, and along with Scott Aukerman, each copy has been signed by an additional few regulars from the show at random.
And some people have reported finding copies signed by Weird Al himself, but that appears to be quite a rare find.
If you happen to be one of those lucky people who find one signed by Weird Al, definitely let us know.
This coming Saturday, December 9th, Weird Al will be taking part in the Brain, Body, and Soul Fest, a first-of-its-kind non-profit music telethon in the metaverse.
The event, which runs from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Hollywood Star Time, hopes to empower those affected by brain injuries through the power of music and raise funds towards providing support, resources, and hope to those affected by aneurysms and AVMs.
While we don't know what time it will be airing, we were told that Weird Al will be performing as part of a pre-recorded segment.
To register for the free event, donate, and learn more, head over to brainbodyandsoulfest.com.
Weird Al's online merch shop just got an update with brand new merchandise added.
Well, new merchandise compared to what was there. The shop now includes a few items from the unfortunate return of the ridiculously self-indulgent ill-advised vanity tour, including the Hawaiian shirt, tumbler, water bottle, and 2 black tour shirts.
To celebrate, they have a sale going on right now where you can get 25% off everything in the store. There's no announced end date for the sale, and while we aren't sure what the trigger is, some people have even reported getting free shipping with their larger orders. Nice!
This episode is brought to you in part by vegan burrito restaurant Burrito Burrito, home of the 2-pound double wrapped in a quesadilla Burrito Burrito, and Wizard Burger in Albany, New York. Come on down to Burrito Burrito and Burrito Burrito, your Burrito Burrito, and Wizard Burger for mouth-watering, loaded, dare I say beefy, vegan burgers. From Albany to Uranus, Burrito Burrito and Wizard Burger feed the hungry with out-of-this-world, plant-based, real food, always vegan style. Visit burritosquared.com and wizardburger.com and order ahead.
And now it's time for what's happening in Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West related news.
Kimo's annual holiday live stream is scheduled for Sunday, December 17th at 4 p.m. Hollywood Star Time, 7 p.m. Burrito Burrito Time.
Following tradition, he'll be performing holiday classics from both of his Christmas albums, as well as several other holiday classics and other surprises.
Afterwards, he will spend personal time in the virtual backstage to talk and share stories with those who attend.
Tickets are only $15 or free for all Kimo Corner members. Tickets are available right now over at jimkimowest.com.
Kimo is also offering a holiday sale with 20% off of all his music, tabs, merchandise, and more.
In addition to all the great stuff already there, he'll also be offering a deluxe box set in the next few days. All 12 of his CDs in a beautiful holiday gift box.
Just make sure you get all your orders in before December 26th, as that's when the sale ends.
And finally, for those of you in California, Kimo will be performing some holiday shows this December, including in San Pedro, Covina, and Fullerton. For tickets and information, head over to jimkimowest.com.
All right, let's check out what's happening in Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast-related news.
Our Patreon family likely noticed that yesterday we released a very special secret episode exclusively for them over at patreon.com/2000inch.
That's right. On the last episode, we spoke to the co-producer of Gutenberg the Musical and friend of the podcast, Jeremy Ween, about Al's role in the Broadway play.
We couldn't air our entire conversation with Jeremy, so we turned it into a secret episode.
To hear our full conversation with Jeremy, as well as all of our other secret episodes, and to get early access to each and every bonus episode that we will ever release, including the remaining ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes once they drop, as well as other fun goodies, head on over to patreon.com/2000inch and sign up.
And now it's time for the very first What's Happening in Dave Elvis Rossi related news. Last Thursday, November 30th, our very own Dave Elvis Rossi celebrated the 27th anniversary of getting his first Weird Al tattoo.
That's right. Weird Al signed my ankle at an event at the Roosevelt Field Mall in Long Island, New York, and I went and I got it tattooed minutes later in the parking lot by a large Albanian woman with excruciatingly severe body odor.
Wow, I never heard the extended version of that story before. So that was your very first Weird Al tattoo, and as I understand, you then went on to get Al's portrait as well as signatures and portraits for Bermuda, Jim, and Steve. Now, Dave, everyone wants to know, when are you getting...
Yeah. When am I getting Ruben's tattoo? Well, guess what? Not going to happen.
No, not Ruben. Pfft, why would you do that? When are you getting a tattoo of my face?
Oh, I already got one of those. I didn't show you? Here, let me show you. It's right here on my...
No, moving on. On the last episode, we aired the second part of our interview with Weird the Al Yankovic Story director and co-writer Eric Appel. Let's pick up the interview where we left off last episode, already in progress.
There were so many stressful moments. I look back with such rose-colored glasses because all I can think about is like the reception that the movie got, and like just how happy I am with it, and that whole experience. I sort of block out like the really crazy, frustrating experiences. Which one was the Pablo Escobar day. That was again one day we had to shoot that entire Escobar sequence, and we also were like maybe going a little over budget or getting a little close to going over budget. So it was one of those days where they said, okay, look, hey, we have to wrap in 11 hours instead of 12 hours today. But you're counting lunch, so that means I only have 10 hours of shooting that day. So I had to shoot that entire Escobar thing in 10
Holy
hours.
Crap.
Squibs going off. There's explosions. There's like gun, it was complicated. There's music and again, like, no, we didn't really have rehearsals. I met Arturo Castro that day. That was the first time I met him. It was like when he walked on set and I saw him as Pablo. So it's the very end of the day and we're shooting Evan. We're shooting Madonna giving her big speech to him where she says that it's just business and she was just using him. And so I get my close up, close shot of it, my medium shot, I guess. And we run through the whole scene and she fires the gun. Now at the end of that scene, after she fires the gun and she's crying, there's a little moment we trimmed out in the edit, which is she does this like kind of the same dance that Olivia Wilde does in the trailer, where she like does like the scissor fingers and kind of goes over her eyes.
Yeah.
So she like does that, or I think no, Evan was like voguing. She was voguing and crying,
I love it.
and she like falls down to the ground. It was just like a little too silly to go out on, since we then had to go to like Daniel walking through the jungle, but. She goes down to the ground. Now, we were moving so fast at that point, trying to finish this day in 10 hours, that we hadn't cleaned up the fake blood that was on the table. So when she came up, when she stood back up, I walked in to give her a couple notes, like, let's try another one. Her performance was amazing, but I'm like, I was like, we got it. That performance was perfect. We'll try a couple more things and go one more time. I walked up and she had fake blood in her wig, like a big pile of fake blood in her wig.
Oh, no.
Oh.
And we were like, oh, no, there's fake blood. And then the hair people are like, that's it. That's a wrap on that wig for the day. It's going to take hours to get that out.
Oh, no.
And it was like, no, I only have one take. I have one take of Evan doing this whole big, long speech. I mean, it's a testament to like what a fantastic actress she is.
Sure.
Incredible that she did nail it, because everything you see there is from that one take. Everything's in the cut. We dabbed it, we got blotted most of the red out. It kind of just looked pink. And then I moved camera back and I did another take, like back further, a little wider over Daniel's shoulder where you can't really tell what's going on. But oh my goodness, what a stressful experience that was. Every day had a moment like that.
What happened on our day?
There's the...
I don't know if this is what you're going to say, but there was like a beer keg exploded.
I know. Yes. Oh my goodness. Somebody leaned on. It was Aaron. It was our on-set photographer. I felt so bad for him, actually. He leaned on a beer tap, and there was like, I mean, it should have just. He was like getting a photo of Dot Marie Jones as Mama Bear, I think. And he leaned on this beer tap, and the beer should have just went straight down, but there was like something leaning up against that, and it just sprayed beer all over the camera.
Oh no.
And it like ruined one of the lenses. We lost our 60 millimeter lens.
Oh wow.
So if we had to use a 60 mil for the rest of the shoot, we realized it was messed up the next day when we shot Madonna, the first Madonna day. It was like, why does this stuff from the 60 mil look all cloudy? Like, it's kind of a cool look, but it's not matching the other lenses.
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, because so much beer, because it has to get like professionally cleaned now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was really stressful. That's why I didn't get the close-ups. I think that set us back a good that probably set us back 30 minutes, and it's why I wasn't able to get any close-ups of the performance at the end. But that's it. I mean, the things like that happen. You never know what's going to happen. You got to be able to pivot. That's the hardest thing about directing. I mean, that's the skill set that you need, I think, to be a good director, is to be able to just like pivot on your feet and figure out like, okay, we're not going to be able to do what I wanted to do. How are we going to be able to still make it great? And sometimes it ends up better than you ever thought it was going to be, just because everyone has to be firing all cylinders on all cylinders, and like everyone's got to be working so hard to get it in the time that you have to get it. It's crazy. It's like being a professional athlete at times, you know. It's like the team has to all be like working together. You know, we have to be like the 98 Chicago Bulls or something out there. Wait, there was something else that let me just think about that beer thing. Reminded me. I feel like I have another story about a crazy thing that happened during another day. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. Every day, the day that Toby Huss beat up Thomas Lennon was another day that was just like right down to the wire. The last thing we were doing was the fight at the end of the day, and we were just like, I mean, rolling around on the floor. We went handheld with the camera. It was just like so stressful. Like, yeah, getting him to beat Tom up, and you know, because we're going to trash the room a little bit. We got to smash that chair, and there's continuity things that we have to be aware of, and the frame has to break and all this stuff. Yeah, where it was just so run and gun. Yeah, trying to get that to look right, and making sure that Toby, you know, Toby's wearing this black glove on his hand. He has a wooden hand underneath there. He's supposed to. And, you know, we have to keep saying, oh, Toby, you bent your fingers a little bit. You can't bend your fingers. It's like, there were so many moments where Al and I were like trying to blame each other for who wrote the wooden hand. We're like, who wrote this hand in here again? Why did we do this to ourselves? I don't know. I think that there's a character in Young Frankenstein that has that like wooden hand that he's constantly like turning, right? He's like, I don't know. There's some character in something that's black and white that has like a false hand that he gets a lot of mileage out of.
Yeah, I'm not sure what movie you were talking about there, Eric, but it does remind me of the character in UHF, Big Louie, who has a hand that screws off and changes.
chops the meat.
All right, so it's from that. So Al taking from Al.
Perfect.
Yes. So you touched on this a little bit, Eric, but what was it like to be not only on the set with Al, but directing a movie about him, as well as directing him as Tony Scotti in the same room as Daniel Radcliffe, who was playing Weird Al?
That's a fantastic question. There are so many layers. I mean, each one of them, I think, adds a level of crazy to it, right?
Right.
Yeah, like directing the Weird Al movie is one thing. Directing it, having written it with Al, and Al is there, but Al's in the scene, but there's another Al that's not Al. You know, it was a little confusing when I would say Al. Al does this. Al should. That's actually that was actually a really confusing thing for me when writing the movie with Al or discussing things that would happen to the character, is that referring to the character as Al to Al. I would always slip up. Like, there were times where I would say you instead of saying, but like, I'm not talking about him, because it's not him. It's a movie character version of him that's doing things that he never actually did in his own real life.
Right.
So you know, I'm like, oh, Al, yeah, there's how about this part where you you're wearing these medallions. I don't know, it feels more natural to say, but I'm not talking about, he's not going to play himself. It was just very weird. It was always really confusing in which way I would speak about that character to him. When we were in editing, we used to call we'd call him Al Senior when he was in the scene with Dan. Because I would say, like, Al should do this, and Jamie would go, Al Junior or Al Senior? And I'm like, Al Senior. Which is really fun. I mean, I guess we could have just said Tony. Tony Scott.
Right. No, but you'd still be confused, because if you said Al, then you'd still have to, clarify.
Yeah, because I only call him Tony on one day, on the day that he played. 2 days he played Tony. But it was really fun. It was fun. It was just really fun getting to direct Al too. To direct Al reacting to someone making fun of him for his looks. Like, that was just such a.
That was such a great part of the movie. Great line.
It's so.
His reaction.
It was so funny. You make me want to throw up. Will Forte made me laugh so hard.
Oh,
He's
my
like,
gosh.
Oh,
the greatest.
Like, I was so happy he did that, and then every line, you write something, but then when Will Forte says it, it's like, yes, Will Forte's saying it in the Will Forte specific way that he says things, and it's elevating my stupid words to a place where I never could have brought it myself. So thank you, Will Forte.
I've been wondering since the first time I saw the film, the song Amazing Grapes. I have a couple questions. Did Al write the lyrics to Amazing Grapes? And was there any consideration for Al's voice to come out when youngest Al was singing that at the dinner table?
Okay, so that's very funny. I wish that we used that. That would have been funny if we used Al's voice. Oh my goodness. That was one of those, like, too early in the movie to use it. Like, that would have been it would have thrown everyone. Who wrote the lyrics to Amazing Grapes? I may have written Amazing Grapes.
Okay.
I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Was there any consideration to putting that on the soundtrack, as well as Arturo's version of Ricky?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. We might have had. I mean, Al really handled all the soundtrack stuff himself. So, yeah, I can't remember if that was ever going to be on the soundtrack or not.
Well, they were glaring omissions.
Yeah, that was a late. I remember very late in the game we decided to put a little musical accompaniment behind that Amazing Grapes part, because for the longest time it was just a cappella, and we were like, oh, it feels like more emotional if we put a little bit of music behind it. And there was something that with the music too, where the time. It's funny when you're mixing a movie, you realize all these things, like little timing things. Like, Toby turns his head to the beat of the music. He, like, looks one way and then, like, looks the other way during that. I don't know. Go back and watch that Amazing Grace part. There's like when the music changes, it's synced up with like a look from someone. Great. And just accidentally. There's also, if you watch when it goes into Amish Paradise at the end of this we laughed so hard about when we were mixing the movie. When the parents are talking over each other as it's transitioning into Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
The last line of dialogue from Toby sounds like he's rapping it. Now that I've said it, go listen to it. It's like or something like that. You know, like the pattern of it like syncs up with the beat of Amish Paradise. And we just we were howling when we were mixing the
great.
movie. We just kept joking about it. And I'll never unhear it. It's one of those things you hear it and you never hear it.
Oh, I can't wait to listen. Now, one thing that has come up in interview somewhere that I'd love for you to expand on is that at one point there was a multiverse consideration for the film. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, that was just the that was an idea when we were just kind of brainstorming, like, how crazy do we want the movie to go? And I think multiverses were hot. I mean, maybe we were a little ahead of our time. This was probably before like Spider-Verse even came out, right? When we first started talking about it. I liked the idea of there being like other Al, or like he's in a one timeline collapses and he has to go to another universe and like he has to like kill himself and replace himself. That's kind of a funny, like the bad thing happens and he's like, oh, I'll just go take over for another unsuspecting Al in another universe and everything will be good again. Except for him, he'll die.
Right. Well, that could be how we get a sequel. A different Al comes in.
It could be into the Alverse. Multiverse is like so played now. Like South Park did that into the Panderverse thing. That's like all about how multiverse is overused, and it's like, all right.
Ethan and I are collectors, and of course we kept all of the stuff that we were allowed to keep that we wore that day, and I'll admit I even picked up a piece of popcorn off the bar floor, and I have that in my collection.
I love that.
Did you get to keep anything from the film?
Yes, I have a few things. I have the Hey Boy, most notably.
Is there more than one Hey Boy, or was the same one dressed differently for the two?
No, there was one Hey Boy dressed differently. There was a pair of glasses for the Hey Boy that I don't have. Oh, those never made it into the movie, I don't think, the glasses. They made like glasses out of straw and a straw mustache that were like on that were like on the Hey Boy decoy in the jungle, but I removed them because I was like, you don't need to put anything on the face of the Hey Boy. I thought it was funny. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better with the glasses. Who knows? So I have that. I have the gold Al bust, the one that did not break. We made two of those. We made a smashed one and then one that remained intact.
Oh, cool.
Dan Butts gave me the intact one, and he mounted it and he put a little like placard on there.
Oh, cool.
It's like,
oh my God.
Inscribed, bust of Weird Al presented to Eric Appel, director of Weird the Al Yankovic Story. I have so I have that. I have a shirt. This was not in the movie, but I have a real deal Hawaiian shirt of Weird Al's from the 1980s that he gave.
Whoa.
Me. On the day that we wrapped, he said, this was one of my favorite shirts from back then, and I thought you might want it. And then he showed me a picture where he's like on MTV. I think it's an interview. I think it looks like the Alapalooza era. He's wearing it on MTV.
That's incredible.
Which is amazing. Yeah. So I have that. I have like my little Weird Al shrine here in my office now with all this stuff. I got a couple other things. I got an accordion. I got the Amish sketchbook.
Oh, cool.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I'm going to use them probably to open my own themed restaurant at some point,
Well, if you need the popcorn we saved, let us know. We can put it on loan.
That's my favorite. Yeah, you have to put like that single piece of popcorn behind glass. It has to be like in a little box, like popcorn from Weird the Al Yankovic Story.
Since we're talking about the popcorn in that scene, there's something that kind of has been a joke for Dave and I, and that's leading up to actually being the background actors. We received no less than maybe 5 emails saying, please let us know if you have a peanut allergy. There will be peanuts used in the scene. You know, there will be peanuts everywhere. You need to let us know. And then there were no peanuts. And we were ready for peanuts. There was popcorn. There was bread. There was no peanuts. Do you have an answer? You don't even know about this?
I mean, oh, wow. Hold on. Let me look in my, let's see. Let me just look at my email. I'll look for weird and peanuts. No, I don't know. I think that, I think that we had discussed the bar. It's the kind of bar where they have where like there's peanut shells all over the floor.
Okay.
Right.
And I think that we were just looking for things that were going to get thrown. Like we needed it to be a bar that had stuff people could throw at the band, and you know, when the fight starts and there's all this mayhem, we wanted like bottles,
right?
You know, and I think peanut shells were just going to add a little bit of texture to the scene, and they must have just replaced that with popcorn. Maybe enough people were like not down with peanuts that responded to that email. I don't know. There's a thing that we couldn't shoot for production and budget reasons, is that there was also going to be a chicken that flies by.
In that scene?
Yeah, like everyone's throwing, like as soon as the melee starts and everyone starts throwing stuff at the band, like a chicken flies through the frame.
Oh, amazing.
Which is like very, like the Smells Like Nirvana has a chicken fly through frame,
Right.
I think. Yeah.
It
was very
does.
because like that's and it's funny that like I'm sure that I put the chicken in the script, and Al was just like, "Yep," and I don't know if like, and I don't know if I put the chicken in the script because in the back of my head I remember it from the Smells Like Nirvana video where I think a chicken flies by, or if that's just like a thing, right? Like.
A trope.
Yeah, and a chicken flies by. There's like mayhem. It's a trope of like I don't know what, like cartoons. Like it's just like a very weird specific thing that like a chicken would be in this bar.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah, there's like cockfights that go on somewhere in this bar. I think it just like adds a sense of like something's not right here. There's like some level of illegal activity going on means there's like a chicken in there.
Now, Eric, our understanding is that there was a line in the film referencing Michael Jackson that had to be cut at the last minute, and I would love to hear what you don't have to say what the line was, but how did Michael Jackson's estate even know about it? Did they get a cut of the film or an approval on the film?
You know, it's similar to the Another One Rides the Bus story,
Okay.
where we had to get permission to use the melody from Beat It, just to have Eat It in the movie. And with most other people, like we got these clearances done early on in the process before the movie was made, so we could make any changes. Mm-hmm. For this Michael Jackson one, it was like the week before the movie was premiering in Toronto, and all of a sudden, we get this terrible email.
Oh no!
And it's like, so, the Michael Jackson people like want to. They said we could use the song before, but now they're asking to like see the script and they want to know every reference to Michael Jackson in the movie.
Oh,
and
no.
And we're like, oh my God, what? The movie comes out in a week. And what are we going to do? We have to use this song. And I mean, I was nervous that they weren't going to like the way that we were like disparaging Michael Jackson, even in just saying that like he's kind of a villain in this story to Al, that like
right.
He's ripped Al off. I'm like, oh no, are they not going to see the humor in this? Are they going to are they not going to let us put this song in the movie because they don't want him to be seen in any kind of negative light at all. Just the way that the Freddie Mercury people
Right.
were.
Right.
And it turns out they were cool about everything except for one line at the end of the scene. And it was a line of dialogue at the end of the scene when Dan says, "Great, now I'm going to be associated with Michael Jackson for the rest of my life." And Al says, "I don't see how that's so bad. He's the most famous entertainer in the world." And that's where we cut it off in the movie that everyone saw. The line continues after that. And I will say that it is like, I don't think it's that bad. And it's about something that everyone knows about. It's about kind of a famous thing. And I'm not talking about his hair getting lit on fire during a Pepsi commercial.
Well, I think we'll let our listeners use their imagination on that one. Thank you for sharing that with us, Eric.
That is so cool. So, that sounds so funny. Will that be on the Blu-ray, do you think, Eric?
That unfortunately will not
Okay.
be ever seen.
What?
Not that it's even that bad, but it won't be on the Blu-ray.
What can you tell us about the Blu-ray and what we can expect from the commentary? There's some extended scenes. I think there's some other things that haven't been announced yet, but it's coming out very soon.
It is coming out very soon. I'm super excited about it. I've never done a commentary track for anything. Al and I did the commentary together. It was very fun.
I can imagine.
Tell a lot of great stories, and there's a lot of fun little tidbits in there. I think some maybe I talked about here today, but but a ton that obviously I did not. It's a little overwhelming doing a commentary. It's like everything goes by so fast. You just want to keep talking and telling stories. Like I could talk for 5 hours about, like we could watch a scene and then I can do like an hour on that scene and tell you everything about the scene,
Well, here's the pitch, Eric. Get Al, come back to Dave and I, and we will do that. Because we kind of did that with Dan Butts. I don't think we intended to, but when we had him on the podcast, we ended up going scene by scene, and he gave us so much incredible knowledge and tidbits about the film that I don't think anyone would ever expect they would get to hear, and it was just incredible.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's if you guys at some point want to do like a series where it's like scene by scene, an episode where we just talk about a scene.
That would be so cool.
I would be down with that.
Awesome.
I mean, I have a lot of memories from this thing. But let's see. Then there's a bunch of extended scenes, and Al and I shot intros for all of those.
Cool. Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we shot on-camera intros for those, which was really fun. And then, just some random other little tidbits, an interview from Tiff, trailers, not the original trailer, unfortunately, the Funny or Die one, although everyone knows where to find that.
Right.
Yeah.
And, just like a bunch of little promotional things and a little featurette Roku had made prior to the movie coming out. But I think the most exciting things are it's going to have a Dolby Atmos mix.
Nice.
Which is very cool.
Nice.
It's going to, and it's going to have those deleted and extended scenes, and the commentary track is like the real exciting.
Do you guys talk about anyone in particular when it comes to the tough biker scene in the commentary?
You'll have to wait and see. I think we talk about a couple of people in that scene specifically. Yeah. It's fun. I can't wait to listen to it myself.
I can't wait.
In the deleted scenes or the extended scenes, are there any extended or deleted scenes from the biker bar?
I believe so. Yes. There was an ending on that scene where everyone runs out of the bar. So we put that ending on.
Oh, cool.
That's one of our extended scenes. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And there was definitely more of Skunk Barf at the beginning. Do we get a little extension of them in the fight and stuff?
No, it's not like we didn't put like an entire scene just to have like a little tiny extra.
Oh man!
Like we I think we feature some of the scenes that have like bigger chunks that were taken out. You know, a 30-second chunk, a 1-minute chunk, and then there's a montage of deleted stuff, like sort of the kitchen sink. You know,
oh nice.
There's a bunch of like a clip package.
Oh,
of just
awesome.
here's a bunch of other little stuff out of context and. It almost works like a gag reel, you know,
right?
Because it's just like
I love that
kind of rapid fire things. Yeah, I want to say it's maybe like 20 minutes of content.
Wow,
If you look at it all.
Wow, that's more than I was expecting. That's amazing.
Maybe something like that. Don't quote me.
Okay.
or do quote me on
quote
it. People are listening.
That's incredible. So I wanted to talk about the world premiere at TIFF. And I have a couple questions surrounding it. Answer however many or any you want. The first I want to ask, was that the first time anyone had seen the film? Or were there test screenings, you know, from Roku or anything? And then the other question is, you know, that night during the Q&A is when the idea of a Yankovic cut came up. Can we ever expect to see a Yankovic cut? Does there anything exist?
So to answer the Yankovic cut question, no, we discussed it, maybe doing it when we put out the Blu-ray, doing a 2-disc and having one being having like all the extra stuff in it and calling that the Yankovic cut. But we decided not to. I don't think there's really like enough, or you know what, it would have just been it costs money to remix a movie again and do all that stuff. Yeah. So I think that what by just putting deleted scenes or extended scenes, you know, we can kind of just put them as is. Like they don't need like a big, huge mix or anything.
Right.
Because you're just trying to get the, you know, you watch most deleted scenes on movies and there's time code and stuff, you know.
Right.
As for test screenings, we did not have any test screenings. Toronto was the first time that anyone had seen the movie. I showed the movie to... That was the first time anyone had seen the movie finished. Like, Colin Davis from Roku came to the mixing stage on the day of our final mix, and like that was the final product. Watch that with us. But there was no audience there other than like just us, you know?
People,
and that was even just to give final notes on the mix. Like I think we emailed some notes in afterwards, like, can you bring the volume up on this a little bit, down on that a little bit? It's so hard to not tinker just forever. So I had maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. I showed the movie to 5 friends over the course of editing it. So the first cut I showed to my friend Blaze Hemingway. He's a screenwriter. He was just working at Pixar for the last year or so. He saw a cut of the movie. He gave me a note that I took to make the Oprah scene a little more montagey. You know, he was like, I feel like we need to see like Al climbing the charts. And so, cause that Oprah scene really was just like a section of Oprah. And then we treated it as more of like a little fun montage where you see him raising, you know, going up the charts and stuff. Like that wasn't in there. That came from my friend's note from watching it that day.
Awesome.
And then I showed it to another friend of mine, maybe a week later. He didn't really have any notes. He just liked it. And then I had 3 friends come in when we were very close to finishing it before we were delivering like the final locking picture. I had them come in and watch it. Other than that, no one had seen it. I was so nervous in Toronto. I mean, you know, I didn't know how it was going to play in front of an audience. There was and there were so many expectations, and it was like night 1, and it was the first time TIFF had been in person in a couple of years. And like, it was just, you know, that theater was gigantic and people were so excited. And you know, Al and I sat next to each other and we're just so pleasantly surprised. Al actually recorded the audio of the audience. on his phone. And so I have that. He shared that with me. I have it on my computer so I can go back and if I'm ever feeling blue, I can just listen to the Toronto International Film Festival laughing at my movie. But yeah, it was pretty insane that was the first time anyone had ever seen it. We were really put at ease after that moment.
Love it. All right, Eric, thank you so much for joining us. You've shared so much with us. This has been incredible. I do have one final question for you, and I know that our listeners and our fans of Weird Al Yankovic Story have been wondering this, and you might have some insider knowledge on it. But if you had to guess, what do you think that they make at the factory?
Oh my goodness. There's an actual answer to this,
What?
What? Really?
There's a real answer. Yeah, we just do you I don't know if I should tell you. Do you really want to know?
I kind of like not knowing, but I need to know.
The curiosity is getting the best of me. We have to know.
All right, I hope Al doesn't get mad at me for letting the cat out of the bag, but all right, here's what they make at the factory. That's true. That's the answer.
I love it.
And was that in the script at any point, or?
No, it's just something that Al said.
So it's the official
I
answer.
think we thought about putting it. We thought about putting it in the script at one point. We thought about putting it in the script and we didn't put it in.
I think it's good that it's not in there and it's just open for interpretation.
I love that is yes, absolutely. That was the right choice.
Yeah.
But knowing the answer, I'm very glad you told us.
Yeah, it would have been funny if it was accordions.
That's true.
That would have been a good one too.
We make accordion keys.
Right.
They just make buttons or something.
Right.
They're like, we make bellows, for accordions.
Oh, that's amazing.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for having me back.
Yes.
I hope to be back again soon.
Eric, thank you so much for joining us. We are thrilled to finally have the U.S. release of Weird the Al Yankovic Story coming to 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, DVD, regular Blu-ray on December 12th. We cannot wait to check out the film in all of its glory, but also all of the amazing special features. Thank you so much for joining us today.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us these past 3 episodes, Eric. And thank you for finally letting us and the entire world know what they make at the factory.
If you're not already following Eric on Instagram, be sure to check him out at EROCKAPPEL to see what projects he's working on, what he's up to, and if everyone on his airplane flights are courteous.
And be sure to order Weird the Al Yankovic Story right now so you can see the film in glorious, whatever TV and player you have resolution. Hear the amazing commentary with Eric and Al, and check out the extended and alternate scenes.
Whoa, that sound means we've got a call on the 347 Spatula Hotline, the official hotline of Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al podcast.
Take it away, intern Frank.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Ethan. It's Jake Larson. Just thought I'd report in. We're up in Muskegon, Michigan, where it is snowing, actually. Came up for a Christmas show tonight, and we ate at a place called Rad Dad's Tacos and Tequila Bar, and I got very excited because one of their tacos under the pork listing was the Weird Al, because it has Al Pastor in it. So it has pork, charred pineapple, onions, cheese, shredded cabbage, and some other things, and a grilled corn shell. But, just had a Weird Al taco. Pretty good. You guys should try it sometime. Come pick me up on your way through, and we'll head up to northern Michigan. All right. See ya.
Well, if it isn't our old friend and rad dad himself, Jake Larson, thank you for the call about the Weird Al taco you had.
And I hope you ordered the Weird Al Taco Grande.
Once he mentioned pork, I knew it wasn't for me, or for Al for that matter. But how did it sound to you, Dave?
Well, as a resident meat eater of the podcast, I think it sounds quite good, actually. Pork and charred pineapple on a grilled corn shell. Yum. You sure you wouldn't get one?
Tango que pasar!
This episode is brought to you in part by Discover Darwin, promoting tourism in Darwin, Minnesota. Not only is historic Darwin, Minnesota, beautiful, it's also stone cold.
I just visited Minnesota a few weeks ago, and while I wasn't able to discover Darwin, I did take a look at the yearly Minnesota travel guide.
Wow, we are really getting a lot of use out of that intro.
Yeah, I know. It's like intern Frank got lazy writing the ad.
All right, well, let me guess. You're going to tell me you didn't see a single mention of Darwin even on the maps.
Yes!
And even worse, no mention of discovering anything either.
Well, actually, there was an ad for Discover Austin.
Oh, we are totally suing them for plagiarizing our ad.
I know, right?
Wait a minute. Did you say Discover Austin?
Yeah.
As in WWE Hall of Famer, the Texas Rattlesnake himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah, I guess.
That doesn't even make any sense. He's totally associated with Texas, not Minnesota. You can't get much more Texas than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, I thought that was odd. I mean, if they wanted to go with a Hall of Fame wrestler from Minnesota, you really need to look no further than Ravishing Rick Rude.
Whoa, Ethan, you're scaring me.
Oh, sorry, Dave. I really should have mentioned Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig.
Who are you and what have you done with Ethan?
What? You think it should have been Bob Backlund? Molly Holly? Both also great Hall of Famers from Minnesota. Dave? Dave, where are you going, Dave? Well, visit Darwin, Minnesota on your next professional wrestling expedition. Discover Darwin, more than just the twine ball. And after you visit Darwin, Minnesota, be sure to attempt to visit discoverdarwin.biz.
Dave and Ethan's 2000 Weird Al podcast is brought to you absolutely free thanks to our incredible sponsors, Burrito, Wizard Burger, our very own Jackson Scoggins, and Discover Darwin. Our podcast is also supported by everyone else in our Patreon family, with special thanks to our amazing close personal friend level Patreon supporters, Javier, Kev, Ron, Matt, Zeb, Zach, Blair, Ajax, Gus and Alicia, Adriana, Jake, UH Jeff, Kenneth, Allison, Dana B, Casey, Scotto, and also thanks to Aaron and everyone else in our pretty stinking majestic Patreon family.
If you enjoy our family-friendly Weird Al podcast, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/2000inch. There are awesome benefits like getting your name on the podcast, your own private RSS feed, which gives you early access to each and every bonus episode, and the self-satisfaction of doing something important with your otherwise pitiful, meaningless existence.
And now would be a good time to join if you haven't already, because you will get to hear that secret episode with Jeremy Ween and also be the very first to hear our final few remaining brand new ridiculously self-indulgent bonus episodes the instant that they drop. And don't forget to check out our official merchandise over at shop.2000inch.com. They make great Christmas presents, and all proceeds go directly towards supporting our fine podcast.
We love hearing from our listeners and other Weird Al fans, so be sure to join our Facebook community at group.2000inch.com and visit our Discord server for even more riveting Weird Al and Red Rum Tagootie related conversations. You can find both of them linked on our website, as well as information about past episodes and guests over at 2000inch.com or weirdalpodcast.com.
Keep up on new episodes, podcast news, and events by following at 2000inch on Facebook, X, Threads, and Instagram. And be sure to subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single episode. Not only does subscribing help the podcast, it extends the expiration date of your milk by 7 to 10 days. Plus, we also love it when we receive voicemail via our official patent-pending 27-hour-a-day podcast hotline, 347 Spatula. As seen in the Illustrated Al, the Songs of Weird Al Yankovic. That number is 347-772-8852. Give it a call or a text, and you might even hear your message in a future episode.
Thank you once again to our incredible guest, Eric Appel, for joining us this episode and for the past two. Thank you to Dina Chan, Jake Larson, aka Jake Larson, Gary Schwartz, Claire Walsh, Jeremy Ween, and to the large Albanian woman in the parking lot of Roosevelt Field Mall on the night of November 30th, 1996. Thank you to the Grammy Award-winning Jim Kimo West for an incredible podcast theme song, and thank you to the 17-time Grammy-nominated Weird Al Yankovic, as this podcast probably would not exist without him. And a big thanks to all of you, our loyal listeners, subscribers, Patreon supporters and sponsors, and everyone else who makes our podcast possible.
Thank you for choosing Dave and Ethan's 2000 Inch Weird Al podcast. And until next time, remember to gill and chill, keep listening to Weird Al, and stay cheesy. All right, Ethan, since you've already watched the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray early like the hooligan that you are, can you please let me know something?
Wow, sorry Dave. You said you didn't want any spoilers, so I'm not telling you anything.
Ah, come on. It's driving me crazy. I've just got to know if they've included a certain something or not.
Well, I offered to let you know, but sorry Dave, you had your chance. I'm not going to spoil it one way or the other if they included extra footage from the day we were on set.
No, not that. Animation director Josh Pills won't stop calling me. He wants to know, did they remove the animated Amish segment from the physical release?
That was Dave and Ethan's 2000 Inch Weird Al podcast, episode 214 inch.
Now available in 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray.
Eric, thank you so much. We can check out Weird, the Al Yankovic Story on HD. What is it?
Yes, it's everywhere.
What is it? 4K HD? What is it called?
4K Ultra HD.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can check out UHF on 4K.
No.
No,
UHF.
UHF.
Oh my God. I just looked at.
Come on, Ethan.
I'm blowing it.